MIA by law. Purpose: to have professional ethics. The reason MIA said the laws on professional conducts and ethics is to ensure professional accountants act in a dignified manner. Some example on dignified manner is professional accountants to prepare the financial statements according to the standards. Besides that, it becomes a guidance and strengthen the relationship between members. Lastly, it can boost confidence from clients and public at large. Professional accountants with ethics will be more trusted by the client and increase members' reputation. General application, Section 100. It is a requirement for a professional accountant to comply with following principles. First, fundamental principles need to be followed is integrity. In Section 110, professional accountants need to be honest and straightforward. They should prepare financial statements in accordance with the standards and ignore any false or incorrect info to ensure that the financial statement prepared based on fairness. Second, principles need to be followed is objectivity. In Section 120, the principle of objectivity imposes obligation to all professional accountants not to allow bias, conflict of interest or under influence of others to override professional judgment. For example, professional accounting should not cover the wrongdoings of the company although his or her family members are working in the company. Third, principles required by professional accountant to comply is professional competence and due care. In Section 130, professional accountant must maintain professional knowledge and skills at the required level. This is to ensure that the clients or public receive the correct information and services based on professional standards. Professional competence requires professional knowledge and skills and actual performance. There are two phases of professional competence. Phase 1 is attainment of professional competence and Phase 2 is maintenance of professional competence. Require continuing awareness and understanding of relevant technical, professional and business development. Diligence means to act in accordance with the requirements of an assignment carefully, thoroughly and on timely basis. For example, professional accountant to ensure that their work based on the requirement, skills and knowledge. Fourth principle is confidentiality. In Section 140, all professional accountant obligated to respect confidentiality of any information acquired from professional and business relationship. They should not disclose the company's information to other third parties unless approved by company. There are some circumstances where professional accountant are required to disclose confidential information. Firstly is disclosure are permitted by law and authorized by client. Besides that, disclosure is required by law. This is because it needed to be used as evidence in legal proceedings and disclosed for appropriate public authorities. Third is disclosure due to professional duty or right to disclosure. There are a few reasons why confidential need to disclose. Firstly is to comply with the quality review of MIA. Moreover, it is to protect professional interest of professional accountant in legal proceeding. Lastly is to comply with the technical and professional standards. There are relevant factors to consider whether professional accountant to disclose confidential information. Professional accountant need to consider interest of all parties could be harmed if the client give the consent to disclose the information. Besides that, all relevant information is known and substantiated and type of communication and to whom it's addressed need to consider too. Professional behavior. All professional accountant need to comply with professional behavior to avoid negative reputation towards the profession. Section 150.1 stated that actions that reasonable and good towards third party would be likely to conclude adversely affects the good reputation of the profession. In Section 150.2, professional accountant has to ensure that the advertising, Marketing and promotions are professionally dignified and carried out in accordance to rules and regulation. Professional accountants shall be honest and fair. For example, they should not exaggerate the claims for the services that was offered to them. Threats and safeguards. Threat created by broad range of relationships and circumstances. Threat may fall into more than one categories. First is self-interest threat. This threat created by the professional accountant due to many aspects. Unfortunately, it will influence his or her behavior or judgment. For example, professional accountant will give information to the third parties due to self-interest. Second is self-review threat. This threat occurs when professional accountant inappropriately evaluate previous professional accountant who works on the same firm. Third is advocacy threat. This happens when a professional accountant will promote a client's or employer's position to the point the objective is compromised. Fourth is familiarity threat. If the professional accountant has a close relationship with a client or employer, he will be too sympathetic to them. Lastly, intimidation threat. A professional accounting may scared from acting objectively because of being too much pressure, and this can affect the professional account. Okay, now we will move to section 290, independence. Independence in fact means the auditor approaches the audit work with an open mind and takes an unbiased viewpoint in the performance of the audit tests, the evaluation of the results and the issuance of the audit report. Independence in appearance is what third parties would likely to weighing the firm's or audit members' integrity, objectivity and professional skepticism. Method of practice. Firstly, a member in public practice should not use 1. Personal name, 2. Business name, 3. Fictitious name. Next, a member in public practice should not allow any person who is not a member of the institute to practice in partnership with him or her as a chartered accountant. Next, a member in public practice is not allowed to practice as chartered accountant unless 1. In his or her own name, 2. In the name of his partner as chartered accountants. Next, a member in public practice is not allowed to use the name of the firm to be used for other business purpose that will bring dishonor to the profession. Next, a member in public practice should not assist any person who practices himself as chartered accountant in force in Malaysia. Next, a member who is not entitled to be a member in public practice is not allowed to 1. Hold himself out to be a member in public practice in any manner, 2. Provide public practice services as a chartered accountant or any services of a similar nature. Lastly, the requirements where the member participate as director in a company that offers taxation, tax advice and tax consultancy. 1. The member and the company does not follow any written law. 2. The company does not described as chartered accountant. 1. Audit fees. Firstly, a professional accountant in public practice may quote whatever fee is deemed appropriate. Next, fees charged for assurance engagements should be a fair reflection of the value of the work involved and should take into account, firstly, the skill and knowledge required for the type of work involved. Secondly, the level of training and experience of the persons necessarily engaged on the work. Thirdly, the time necessarily occupied by each person engaged on the work. Fourthly, the degree of responsibility. Okay, next we will explain about commission. The member should not pay a commission to obtain a client nor should receive any commission from a client to prevent an unethical behavior by auditor. Lastly, we will discuss about referral fees. Okay, firstly, the member should not provide any other profession's service to the referring member clients without informing the referring member. Next, standards of auditing. fiercely. We will discuss on international standards on auditing. These standards are issued by International Federation of Accountants (IFAC) through the International Auditing and Assurance Standards Board (IASB). Therefore, it will help as the guidelines by the IASB. Next, Malaysian approved standards on auditing. These standards are issued by the Malaysian Institute of Accountant (MIA) to define standards and practices of auditing in Malaysia. The function of it is as a general guidelines to help the auditors fulfilling their skills in audit. That's all from us. Thank you.